Hey guys, Quicksilver Gaming here, bringing you another episode of Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. This is a brand new campaign as the update 1.4 has dropped with the 87 plus new hulls and a whole bunch of other game optimization and bug fixes. Pretty excited for this. I haven't really played this game a lot since it was fully released, and the last two little campaigns using the beta branch, I enjoyed them, but it's nice to play a game that is actually released where the patch is optimized and it is live. So we are playing as the Kriegsmarine, or the German Empire. We're starting in the 1920s, difficulty of legendary, AI opponent is historical, fleet creation is our own, of course, and AI shared designs are off, especially since all shared designs are basically broken with this new patch. So if you have shared designs out there, you would need to fix all of those shared designs before implementing them into a campaign, as they really won't work. As far as what we have going for us, this was quite interesting to design ships. The amount of funds we have in the 1920s is not great. Kind of makes sense for the Germans, though. The 1920s were pretty rough for them, rebuilding their entire economy. So I went with something a little bit different. I built a bunch of battlecruisers, mainly because the World War I battleships were more akin to battlecruisers, and I kind of figured, that's sort of the idea that we'll go with. And I did kind of base some of the ships off of certain historical parameters, but they are sort of fantasy ships. Nothing created that identically matches a historical ship. So I created two battle cruisers, a cruiser, a light cruiser, and a destroyer. But the two battle cruisers are vastly different from one another. So the battlecruiser Bayern class, which I sort of based it off of the Bayern battleship, but there's a couple things that are different, most notably that this has 14-inch guns instead of 15-inch guns, and that is because we had Mark 3 14-inch guns and only Mark 1 15-inch guns, so I felt like it made a lot more sense to go with the better guns. I did go with the historical 5.9-inch casemates. I think the Bayern class had 16. This only has enough space for 12 of them. And then I went with some 3.5-inch casemates. That was one of the historical calibers that the Germans used back in the day. So this is more of a battleship. This ship is designed to take out the enemy's heavy ships. It is designed to take out other battleships, battle cruisers, and then of course cruisers and whatnot. So it is a 40,000 ton hull, 28 knots, maximum bulkheads. It has a maximum beam just to bring this pitch and roll down. Early ships, their pitch and roll is really bad. Really bad. Spacious quarters, these are sort of my standard parameters here. And then I went with the best we could. We don't have balanced boilers yet, so we just have natural boilers. Gas turbines is the best we have. Aux 2, shaft 2, electro hydro 1. We have Krupp 4 armor, which is quite nice at this time. Barbette 4. We went with anti-torp 2, double hull, reinforced bulkhead, anti-flood 3, and Citadel 5, which is the all or nothing armor scheme. This is pretty much my bog standard protection that you will see across all of the ships. Same with propulsion. Armament is going to be the same for most ships. I did opt to go with light shells. They changed light shells a little bit. So light shells with the Cap Ballistic 2 actually shoot further than heavy shells, and they have a little bit more accuracy. So I like that they changed light shells a little bit to be more in line with what they should be. If I were going heavy shells, looking at some of the statistics, I'd actually want to go with the, I think it's standard AP as opposed to Cap Ballistic 2. I think that will do better. So something to keep in mind, and then just nose views for HE, standard ratio, increased AP, increased shells. I like doing that. 2 powder and TNT are go-tos for me, semi-auto loading, and electro-hydro 1 for turrets. For our bigger ships, we're going to go with stereoscopic rangefinders, and then just normal equipment here, RDF radio, Hydro 3 acoustics. And then it's fairly armored for the time, 11-inch main belt, 4-inch fore and aft, 4-inch deck, that's actually pretty heavy, 2-inch fore and aft deck, 2-inch superstructure, and then the rest you can see here. And then for Citadel armor, I always kind of go half of what the main belt is, and then same with inner deck, half, and then I go halvesies again, or some close variant of half. Turret armor almost maxed out. I think like 19.8 was the max and 20 point something, I don't know, but almost close to max. Same with over here, almost close to max. And then as you see, I went with the 5.9 and the 3.5 over here. So that is the Bayern class cruiser, comes in at a $450 million Reichsmarks, whatever you want to call them. And it's quite pitchy, quite rolly, but as I said, with these earlier ships, it's pretty hard to get these numbers down. So our second battle cruiser, the Seydlitz, I believe. I can't remember how to pronounce that properly. You'd think I took some German in college, but of course, you know, that's all gone out the window here. This is more of the standard cruiser killer type that I like to build. So it's a little bit more like a Scharnhorst or Gneisenau now. It has 11-inch guns on it, has 8 of them. Has 18 5.9-inch guns, so really going heavy on the anti-cruiser, destroyer, light cruiser capabilities here. And then 6 of the 3.5-inch casemates. So it's 10,000 tons lighter than the Bayern. It's also about 115 million cheaper. Still has some pitch problems, still has some roll problems, but it's kind of what you expect from these lower tier or earlier hulls, I guess you should say, earlier Dreadnought type hulls. Speed is 28 knots, and then bulkheads, you know, spacious, beam, all the same. Propulsion is basically all the same. Protection is all the same. Did go Barbette 3 just to get it underweight. Not much of a difference between Barbette 3 and Barbette 4 when it comes down to it. Armament is basically the same as the Bayern, and then same with equipment here. It has very similar armor to the other battlecruiser, has 1 inch less on the main belt, but everything else is fairly similar here. The turrets obviously are a little less armored because they are smaller guns. They look a little tiny on this ship, but yeah, they actually look really tiny. But, you know, it's I wanted the smaller firing guns to take out cruisers. That was the design of this battle cruiser here. And then this is one of the new hulls, and it is a very strange hull to work with. You don't really have any true cruiser hulls in the 1920s for the Germans. I need to push down that research tree. But this is kind of the best I could do with this hull and what I had available. This hull is a very front heavy, and getting it to this point was nearly impossible. So you see, I only have 1 front turret and 2 rear turrets. They are 9-inch guns. We had the highest mark for 9-inch guns, and there was a drastic difference in accuracy between the 9-inch and like the 8s or the 10s. It's quite pitchy, rolls okay, engine efficiency okay, and then it's just shy of $140 million. I do have some torpedo tubes on there, 2 4-tube launchers, and I believe they are 20-inch tubes, yep. And then we do have some secondary guns. Unfortunately, they're not the best because this secondary turret or tower takes casemates, whereas the rest take just regular secondaries. So I've got a mishmash here, and that's not ideal, but you know, what can you do in the 1920s and with these type of hulls? So basically we have 14 2-inch barrels guns. I only went with the ×1 barrel for each of these, and that's just to give me some anti-destroyer capability, anti-light cruiser capability. But this ship is designed to take out other heavy cruisers. It's pretty fast, 31 knots, 11,100 tons, a very wide beam to accommodate the 9-inch guns and to get that pitch and roll down. Basic propulsion, basic protection here. Armament, still using the light shells, AP cap ballistic, TNT, tube powder, all of that jazz. Basic equipment. I did give it depth charges just to help out with anti-submarine warfare, and I think 7 inches was the max I could put on for the belt. That is one of the changes in the 1.4 update, is that ships do have a maximum belt armor, and that is something I actually really like. I know some people don't, but I personally enjoy that a lot. I do also want to show you something. When calculating your armor penetration, there's a new thing. You go into the cogwheel, settings, and then armor quality and penetration data. You can go from 0 to 200%. I went with 138 because that is what the Krupp 4 armor quality is. So basically I want to see how the ship does against itself. And so when you go into your gun here, these armor penetration values are against that 138% armor. So if you want to see how it does against 200%, you just change that slider. If you want to see how it goes against 0%, change the slider down. So this thing should hopefully take out other heavy cruisers. Within 10,000 meters, the guns can penetrate up to 6.3 inches, so it couldn't really penetrate itself, but that's okay. I don't think the AI makes their ships as durable as the player does. Anyways, everything else is sort of as you would expect. So we've got the 9-inch guns and the 2-inch guns, and that is the Munich class heavy cruiser, even though it doesn't really look like a heavy cruiser. That is the new heavy cruiser model. I believe 1917 is when it becomes available for the Germans. Now this is the scout cruiser hull. This is also a new hull. Looks very similar to that heavy cruiser hull, but it is a light cruiser through and through. It is 32 knots for speed, 6,500 tons. Cost is just shy of 110 million, so it's very comparable in cost to our Munich class, but is significantly lighter and only a little bit faster. Otherwise, basic propulsion, basic protection here. Armament is the same, 20-inch torpedoes. I didn't put any mines on it, but I put depth charges. And I think I went coincidence for this. I can't remember if on the Munich I went with coincidence rangefinders. I did. The idea is that these ships have to get closer to target the enemy, so the coincidence rangefinders are probably a little bit better in that regard. I could be completely wrong, but that's basically how I do it, is I put stereoscopic on my long-range brawlers and coincidence rangefinders on the ships that get a little bit closer to the enemy. This ship is kitted out to hopefully wreck destroyers. It has 8 5.5-inch guns and then 9 2-inch guns, or 9 2-inch turrets, each turret with 2 inches. So pretty powerful there when facing other light cruisers and destroyers. And then it has 4 torpedo tubes on each side, and then, as I said, the depth charges. As far as armor, you can see it's a lot less armored, and I had to put these armor values a little bit out of whack because it's so front heavy. These new designs are incredibly front heavy, and they are pretty difficult to balance. I would generally like my both my funnels to be here. Can't do that. Had to put this funnel back here, although it's probably more historically accurate on how you build a ship. But you can see here that the forebelt is less than the aft belt, and the aft deck is more than the foredeck. So just keep that in mind. Pitch and roll, not great either, but once again, these early ships really hard to balance out. Quite difficult. And then for our destroyer, DDV1. Oh yeah, so that the light cruiser is called the Stuttgart. Our destroyer, DDV1. It is not my finest design, but once again, really hard to balance these ships. And I don't remember if the Destroyer 2 is a new design for the Germans or not. I'd have to go check my notes, but this was hard to balance. So it's really pitchy, really rolly. Engine efficiency is great. It's really fast at 34.5 knots. It's fairly cheap for a destroyer. I mean, it's expensive, but compared to my other ships, it's really cheap. It has 3 turrets of 4-inch guns, 2 turrets of 2-inch guns, and then it has 4 sets of 2-tube launchers, and then it has mines, it has mine detection, and depth charges. Coincidence rangefinder, only 19-inch torpedoes because I couldn't fit 20-inch torpedoes on here. Otherwise, everything else is basically as you would expect. I did have to move the drought up a little to... This roll was in the red, and that made me feel bad. Terrible armor, but that's one of the new updates, is really limiting your smaller ships armor-wise, and I like that a lot. Makes those ships die really fast. You have to really think about the engagements, and as it should. A destroyer coming across a cruiser, that cruiser is going to absolutely manhandle the destroyer if it lands a hit. Destroyers were not known for their armor. They're known for speed, maneuverability, and essentially screening out submarines and screening out your ships from aircraft. So just keep that in mind. So those are our ships. As far as what we created for a fleet, you can see here, I have 4 of the Bayern class battlecruisers. Those are more of our battleships. 2 of the Seydlitz class battlecruisers. Those are our anti-cruiser ships. 6 of the Munich class cruisers. So I'll have 3 of those with 2 battleships. So I'll have 2 little small fleets. 2 light cruisers, 1 for each battlecruiser, or the anti-cruiser battlecruisers, and then 8 destroyers. So our fleet is very small, very small. But we're Germany. Looking at the political screen, not a lot of nations are threatening us. In fact, just nobody is really threatening us. So there'll probably be a lot of peacetime movement for the Germans, preparing our navy moving forward. And then for research, I think I'm going to push down this cruiser design tree. We need some proper cruisers. Hull strength thing is probably also good. Would be nice to get a proper battleship sooner than later, but I think cruiser design will be our #1 priority here. So that is sort of our turn 1, how we look. Oh, monthly balance is a little bit better than I thought it was. That's interesting. Initially, it was looking pretty grim, but this is what our monthly balance looks like with our naval funds. As usual, I always max out crew training, transport capacity, max out our shipyard size while building, and max the tech budget as much as you can. And then the other thing I forgot to mention, always click Add Crew here. All of my ships are on limited roll, and that helps with the economy early on. As you can see, our growth is plus 6.714%, with a GDP of 115,490,000,000. So we have a Our growth is not the greatest, but not the worst, and our GDP is definitely on the lower end of everything. Obviously, this time in the world, France and the UK have the largest GDP and some of the largest growth, with the United States with an absurd growth, the roaring 20s, although they should hit the Great Depression soon. Not that I think the game does that, but... And then if you compare our fleet to some of the others, it's not too shabby, to be honest. Seeing as 4 of these battlecruisers are more like somebody else's battleships, it's actually pretty comparable. So I feel good about that. That'll be turn 1, and I will come back when, you know, something interesting happens. I imagine the beginning of this campaign is just me powering through a lot of turns, unlocking research and building up a bigger, larger fleet. Alright, it has been a year of plowing through turns. Nothing exciting has happened except we did unlock modern cruisers. So we have the modern light cruiser hull, modern heavy cruiser hull, and the light cruiser 6 hull. Made a lot of old hulls obsolete. I might mess around with these. I probably don't have the capabilities to properly build them yet. We did also unlock balanced boilers, so that really helps a lot. Really, I've just been powering through turns, maintaining a budget, and been building ships. So our fleet has expanded. We have double the amount of destroyers now. I have 2 more light cruisers being built and 2 more of our battleship type battle cruisers being built. As far as research, we've just been keeping a focus on cruiser design, so that has been nice that we unlocked the modern cruisers there. Finances, we're back at 100% of everything with a pretty good balance here. We haven't unlocked the next shipyard size. That is a priority, but just thought I would check on in a year later, a year of peace, and show you what has been happening. Well, the German war machine is acting rather early, as March 1921, we have determined that invading Czechoslovakia is the right course of action. So that'll be moving on pretty quick. We have nearly 300,000 soldiers. They have a force of 95,000. So I imagine Czechoslovakia will be part of the German Empire soon. Other than that, I messed around with the hulls for the modern heavy cruiser and modern light cruiser. I can build something, but I think I'm going to wait for a few more towers to unlock for those, and that way I can build something that I'm a little bit more happy with. Probably do major overhauls of the Navy about every 5 years, just as a update on that. But obviously if something big comes along, I will build a new ship and we will go from there. It is now October 1921, and Latvia's new leader was found to support armed terrorists who disrupt the regional trade networks of Germany, increasing the tension between the two countries. So basically, Germany has decided to invade Lithuania, so the German Empire moves forward. The war machine is moving on to take another country in the name of the Reichsmark. So we need a rather large fleet to invade Latvia, and I think we have enough. It's going to hurt our monthly balance pretty bad. I'll have to reduce our tech budget by quite a bit. So let's see, this is 116,000. So well, basically, I think I need to move both of my major fleets to Latvia in order to gain 100%. I think you need about 200% of the requirement to do this, and you see our monthly balance just absolutely tanked. So we will have to offset that by going to about 70% for a tech budget. And just to show you, that is not enough tonnage to earn 100% chance. So we need to move more ships out. I'll probably send out this battlecruiser fleet And I wonder if I need to send out my other battlecruiser fleet from Wilhelmshaven. We'll just see how that does for now. And of course need to rebalance our budget because we are utilizing most of our fleet's resources. Or I guess I should say most of our Navy's resources. Well, I'm not sure if this is a bug or not, but moving in that battlecruiser fleet dropped the chance to succeed by 7%, so I'm going to move my other battlecruiser fleet in, see if that does anything. I wonder if maybe it's because we didn't have a large enough fleet at the beginning to earn 100%. I wonder if that is what's going on here. And the same has been going for a major offensive into Czechoslovakia. This has gone from like 0 to 4, back to 0 to 5 to 0, and now it's up to 18%. Czechoslovakia only has 34,000 troops left, less than 34,000, so it's kind of odd. I wonder if that is an unintentional bug of this update, that these percentages aren't correct. Something to keep an eye out for sure. Well, the Third Reich is surely moving forward, as now they want to invade Estonia, which is right next to Latvia. I'm hoping maybe we can double dip. I doubt it because it's probably this port over here, but we will definitely do this. So let's see how this goes. Yeah, up there. We only have 2 more turns over here. I wonder if we can wait the 2 turns. It'd be nice if these conquests could you could sort of choose when they start, but I think we can. We don't have any other ships. We just have destroyers. So we'll follow through with Latvia, and now it's up to 78%, and then we'll go over to Estonia and see if we can take over Estonia. I guess our invasion of Czechoslovakia failed. That seems really odd to me. They had barely any troops left, but you know, that is the ground combat in this game is a little to be nice, half-baked, but we will continue on forward. Well, things aren't going according to plan, as not only did our invasion of Czechoslovakia failed, we failed to gain control of Latvia, even though we had nearly 330,000 tons of ships helping the invasion. So hopefully the invasion of Estonia goes a little bit better. Hopefully being this far behind doesn't completely screw everything up, but we're just going to move our entire fleet into here and see if that does it. If not, well, that would be quite a shame, as we've expended a lot of resources into this already. Grabbing Estonia by itself is a little weird. It would be nice to have like Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and Western Poland, but I think that's just my German Third Reich mentality getting the best of me there. So we will continue on with our invasion. Well, the good news here is that it says chance to succeed 100% for the invasion of Estonia. So I'm just going to keep that as is, keep on rolling forward. We're just, you know, balancing our budget as it needs to. Why don't we make that the better number here? Yep, nice. All right. And we'll continue moving forward, see if we should conquer Estonia unless something weird happens. It's July 1922, and I just wanted to give a little update on what we're doing research-wise. So I was pushing down hull construction because fewer ship flaws is great, and then this popped up saying in 22 months modern battleship hull design will be done researching, and that'll unlock modern battleship 2 and 1. If you notice, 22 months, so that looks really good to me. And then rangefinder, Well, it's a coincidence rangefinder, so it doesn't really matter for the battleship. But a lot of things unlocking in 22 months, so I figured, all right, let's change the priority and let's change it over to big guns, because obviously with battleships we want big guns. If I could unlock 15-inch guns that are on par with what we have for 14 inches right now, that would be perfect. So in 2 years' time, hopefully we can start building proper modern battleships, and that would put us roughly around just shy of 1940 or 1924, and then in 1925, hopefully we can start pushing our next wave of ships. As I said, sort of every 5 years, I really like to redo the fleet or upgrade the fleet, and that'll be a nice upgrade there. Otherwise, we are still balancing our budget, still building larger shipyards. This next build will be great because we can build just about any ship we need to, but then we will continue beyond that. And the war against Estonia is going fine. Hopefully we can get those ships back into port soon. So this is rather interesting. I think the Soviet Union was invading Estonia at the same time that we were, and we invaded it quicker. So we gained control of Estonia. So that is a win for the Germans here. And that's a pretty nice port that Estonia had, nearly 100,000 tons. So I could definitely put a battlecruiser up there, and I probably will do that. Yeah, I'll probably place one of our major battlecruiser fleets over there. So I need to move back our major fleets here, and I screwed up and placed this ship in Wilhelmshaven, and then I also screwed up and put this ship in Peleo, where it should be in Kiel. And then, where's our other large fleet? Move you back to Kiel. So those are our two major fleets, and then we have this little, nope, that's not it. Oh, I hope I didn't, 14-inch guns. 11-inch guns. Okay, so this is our cruiser killer fleet. So what I will probably do is move part of it to Wilhelmshaven. It's a tongue twister for me. And the other part of it, I might need to do that on the next turn because of how they stack on top of each other. Then I'll probably move the rest of it to Tallinn, and then I don't have anything over here. I might start building a third fleet, maybe. I think we can do that. Yeah, we should be able to do that. So if I build, let's just build, so we have 6. Let's build 3 of these, and then build another 4 of those, and then we build a couple more destroyers, and that'll tank our economy, but that'll set us up really nice for the future. And I know by the time these are done, we will start unlocking the modern battleships, but you know, that's a 2-year gap from now. Who knows? I think we're angering a few countries at the moment, most notably the United States, although they're clear across the world, so it's not that big of a problem. We'll just do, actually, this isn't a problem. We can do this for a turn. We could even do that for a turn. because all these ships are at sea control. Next turn we'll put them all on limited, except for the one fleet that I can't really. Oh yeah, I could. No, no, they sit on top of each other. Something that I really wish that they would fix in this game. There's an identical group of ships just below this, so unfortunate there. But I think that is looking good moving forward. Just wanted to show you, now that all of our ships are in the correct ports and I have changed everything over to limited and we're building a third major fleet, our finances are really good. We're at a positive here. We have a nice amount of naval funds left as a buffer. So our economy has stabilized there. Just want to show you the politics screen right now. The Soviet Union and the United States are the biggest threats to us, but nothing major. We have a really nice growth going on right now. GDP is, it's like bottom middle of the pack. Nothing compared to England, France, even Italy and China are way ahead of us. The United States is obviously ahead, so we're sort of somewhat in the bottom of the pack in terms of overall GDP, but our growth is really nice. Oh, and for research, so now that we are pumping tons of money in, battleships will be unlocked in 9 months, and we are delving down big guns very heavily. I might contemplate some other things here, like engines or boilers. We probably won't build the battleship right away, but I'll take a peek at it when it is available. June 1924, and we have a little bit of an update. So you can see our monthly balance is quite far in the negative here, and we've even decreased our tech budget down to 50%, and it is because we are building a large amount of ships. As you can see here, we have 2 or 3 of our battle cruisers, the Bayern class, is being built. We have all of these new ships being built. I think it comes to 6 light cruisers, about 19 destroyers, and 12 heavy cruisers. And let's take a look at what I have designed. So we have the Köln class light cruiser. Pretty pleased with this one. So 7,700 tons, top speed of 35 knots. Pretty decent range on it, maximum bulkhead, spacious quarters. Pretty much what you expect on propulsion and protection. Armament, it's pretty much your standard, although I went only with a standard amount of shells, just because it's a light cruiser. Hopefully isn't going to be in a lot of protracted battles. 21-inch torpedoes. I did go with the coincidence rangefinder because it should be a little bit up close and personal to enemy destroyers, maybe even other light cruisers, and to merchant ships. I didn't put any depth charges or mines on it. I didn't really have the space for it, and not necessary per se. It does have 4 inches of main belt armor, which is pretty beefy for a light cruiser. 1.6-inch main deck. Everything else is just 1 inch across, and then you can see the Citadel armor here, turret armor. So we do have the 5.5-inch guns, just kind of keep it with that German theme, and it has 5 turrets, so 10 barrels total of 5.5-inch guns, and then it has 8 turrets of these 2-inch guns, and then 4 launchers, each of 2 tubes each for torpedo tubes. So it's quite punchy, especially when it comes to facing enemy destroyers and the like. Quite like how it looks too. I think it looks pretty decent. The roll is a little high, but that's the best I could really do without messing everything up. I could have made the beam a little bit more, but that caused all sorts of issues. So I think So I think that one came out pretty well. It's expensive, 156 million, but it's pretty much a modern light cruiser. We could use this chassis and refit it for quite some time. I did go ahead and build a new destroyer. I don't necessarily know if this destroyer is a lot better than the last one, and it's double the cost, but it's pretty fast. It looks better to me, and I think these guns will perform pretty well on it. So 36 knots, 2,400 tons. I did have to make the beam pretty hefty and the drought pretty short to make the pitch and roll a little bit more adequate. They were both close to 50%. By doing this, I at least get one down below 40%. I figure if something hits a destroyer, it'll die anyway, so having the drought really low doesn't really matter. Its range isn't great, but then again, I don't really want my destroyers going across the world and, grabbing crazy things. Mostly I want them protecting convoys at home and laying mines. That's a big thing for me. So I did put an Aux 3 and Shaft 3 on it just to make it a little bit more maneuverable. And then standard armor. I did unlock Krupp 5 recently. I don't know if I showed that off. Only 20-inch torpedoes, just because the 21s don't really fit on the destroyer hull. Coincidence rangefinder has depth charges, mine sweep, and a advanced layer mine. And then basic destroyer armor, so nothing great. And then it has 3.5-inch guns, has 4 turrets of those on it. So as I said, I'm not sure it's that fantastic. Its range is pretty low, and that's because of the drought. I might need to go in and tweak this as I unlock more technology, or when I unlock the destroyer leader hull, I might go and just build a whole new destroyer. Then here's the first of our modern heavy cruisers. This is the Wolfsburg. It is a 12,900 ton destroyer, except I could only make it 11,618. The reason I need this weight is for the length. If I go any lighter, then it's too short. And I've said this a million times. The length of the ship, they don't make ships long enough in this game. The length to tonnage ratio is off, and that does bug me. You can't build historically accurate ships in this game because they're always way too heavy, because in order to make them long enough to fit everything on it, you have to make them a lot heavier. So that's why I'm only 90% of my total tonnage. Has great pitch and roll though, decent engine efficiency, 32.5 knots for speed, 14,250 kilometers maximum bulkheads, quarters, basic propulsion. I did put anti-torp 3 because I had all that extra weight that I could use. I didn't go to 4. That makes it take quite a while to build. It's already at 16 months build time. Light shells, increased ammo, cap ballistic, base fuse, TNT 3, all that good stuff. I did put stereoscopic on this because it will start shooting further than some of your other ships. Its its furthest distance is 15,000 meters with the 8-inch guns. When we unlock Mark IVs, I think that goes up even further. The accuracy isn't quite where I wanted it to, but this tower with this barbette can only hold 8-inch guns, so that's quite a damper. There's another hull that I need more tonnage on, but that'll probably be one that I put 10-inch guns on. For armor, it's pretty heavily armored for a cruiser. 9.1-inch main belt, that's the maximum. 5 and 5, 3-inch deck, 1.5-inch on both of the fore and aft. So quite heavily armored for a ship of this size, and it has a lot of 3.5-inch guns. Still trying to stick to that 3.5, which is technically historically accurate for the Germans, at least in the interwar period. So it has 9 turrets. It's got the one in the middle here, mainly because there isn't a funnel that I have unlocked that fits right here, which is kind of annoying. I would have liked a dual funnel to get the engine efficiency up higher, but yeah, the can't fit a funnel here. Another issue I wish the game would fix is there's so many different funnels for different ships. Getting access to those on almost every ship, so I can build a ship with dual funnels. This ship hull should have dual funnels, but I'm limited because this tower can't fit any of the other funnels. Anyways, I just wanted to show those off: the light cruiser Köln, the destroyer V20, and the heavy cruiser Wolfsburg, are new additions to the fleet. So that'll probably do it for this episode here. Hope you guys enjoyed it. This will be the start to hopefully a nice campaign. Hopefully there'll be some wars coming up in the next episode or so. We are building up our fleet, and it is looking like it'll be something mighty. If you guys have made it this far, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate you. Please like, comment, subscribe. All of that YouTube jazz greatly helps out the channel. And as always, guys, until next time.